evening. Hello, everyone. I'm Sharona. You are watching the Zone Blitz, the weekly Tuesday night webcast produced by NFL Female for female fans, but we welcome everyone here. We have a lot of men who are very supportive of the show, and we appreciate you. Tonight's show is an AFC roundup. We talked a little bit about the AFC last week with the Buffalo Bills and our girl who covers the Buffalo Bills, and Del Reed, who is very involved with the Bills and with charity work. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that show, I want to start the show, and I'm going to throw it to Sonja real quick, but in line with the AFC talk, I posed this question to the other ladies joining the show tonight. Is the AFC getting ready to be pretenders or contenders? When you look at the quarterback situation in the division, you've got some young quarterbacks, a lot of old quarterbacks, very few kind of in between. We're going to talk about that in the last minutes of the show and our AFC versus NFC discussion. By the way, I am the official fan reporter for the Tennessee Titans for NFL Female. Be sure to check out the website, www.nflfemale.com. Check out all the great writing and the other things that are going on there. We have a lot of smart women who cover their respective teams, and I am joined by three of them. Sonja, how are you doing? And tell everybody who you are.
I'm doing great. I'm Sonja. I'm the official fan reporter for the Detroit Lions for NFLfemale.com, and I am tonight about that life, baby. Anyway. Oh, goodness. So you can find me on Twitter at Mom23RN, talking about my Lions. Thanks, everybody, for coming to join us. Claire, Gwen, we are so excited to have you guys on to talk all AFC, everything, and all the football. Claire, hi. How you doing, baby girl? Haven't seen you in a while.
It's been way too long. I'm stoked to be back and really excited to have this AFC discussion with you guys tonight. So thanks so much for inviting me.
Not a problem. So glad to have you on. And Gwen, welcome to you. This is your first time on our podcast. So happy to have you.
First time on any podcast, so definitely getting the virgin one here.
Well, we are happy to pop your podcast cherry.
There you go. And we'll be gentle. We promise.
Yeah, it's all fun here. We just have discussions about football. It's all informal, just talking about the NFL and the teams that we love. So let's get started. I really want to hear from Claire and Gwen. They have been attending training camp, Claire for the Houston Texans and Gwen for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to let Claire start, and then I'm going to let Sonja lead us through this segment.
Okay. All right, Claire, go ahead and get us started with what's been happening with the Houston Texans and what you've seen at training camp.
It's been a different world. I didn't get to attend many camps whenever Gary Kubiak was the coach, only one last season. And so comparatively, the differences are night and day from what I saw last year to what I saw this year. Mm-hmm. This year is so high-paced. It is action. It is young coaches getting in guys' faces. And, of course, you're not thinking young when you think Romeo Crennel, but all of his assistants are pretty young. Mike Vrabel goes like one-on-one with Jadeveon Clowney and DJ Swearinger in these drills, and it is so fun to watch because he's not far removed. He can run these sprints with these guys. He's a fun coach to see, and it's just been really exciting to see what they're implementing there because it's all a guessing game at this point.
Exactly. Do the guys seem pretty receptive to what's been going on and the leadership change and stuff like that? How have they been responding to you?
I think that, each position coach has put the most experienced and typically talented guy at the front of the drills and everything, leading each position group. So, like, it's Andre Johnson, followed by DeAndre Hopkins, followed by Devere Posey, followed by, you know, a bunch of other maybe make the team guys. But it automatically sticks Andre Johnson in the position of, hey, these guys are following you. You've got to be the leader. And so it builds that camaraderie. So I think they seem to be pretty receptive to the way that Bill O'Brien's implementing his system.
Well, that's good. And how does Mr. Clowney look out there, our #1 draft pick?
Okay. I had my doubts, and I thought, okay, now he's hurt. He needs surgery. This is over. This is not going to work out well. Okay. Yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a YouTube clip, or someone took a little video at camp. He was off his block and tackling poor little 5'5"-ish Dennis Johnson running back behind the line of scrimmage in like a second flat.
He
I mean,
demolished
he didn't even
him.
see it coming.
Yeah.
He totally did. He crushed the poor kid. And so you felt bad for Dennis Johnson, but then you're screaming because, oh my gosh, this guy just got over hernia surgery, and he's not even supposed to be playing yet, but he's playing, and he did that. So there were crazy things happening with Jadeveon Clowney. So I'm very scared for other running backs in the NFL.
Running backs, opposing quarterbacks,
That
everything's
too.
scared for your life.
It's
Exactly.
exciting.
Exactly. That's good, though. It's such a fun time. New regime change. You know, we're going through that here in Detroit. And,
Yes.
you know, from what I've heard, you know, a lot of changes have actually started, you know, to be seen. So that's kind of cool. So it'll be kind of fun to watch it all unfold.
Yeah.
Now, Miss Gwen,
Yes.
tell us about Ravens camp, which I'm sure has been eventful, to say the least.
There has been, like, I don't even know where you want me to start. Practice, it was at the stadium. It was a full stadium.
Wow.
So you have Ray Rice making his appearance and seeing how everybody was going to react to him. Kind of saw him, came out slow. He went right to the kids that were on the field. You had that going on.
Mm-hmm.
Practice started, and about 10, 15 minutes into practice, Ray Lewis shows up. So then
Awesome.
everybody loses their mind. Can't have a normal place when Ray Lewis is around. So everybody was, I think, was really excited to see what Gary Kubiak was going to do with the offense.
Mhm.
And it seems like, to me, the wide receivers are on point. Like, we have a pretty deep wide receiver bench right now with Torrey and then Steve Smith, who
Yeah. Welcome.
I was going to ask you about Steve Smith. How's my boy Steve Smith looking?
he is having so much fun.
Oh, good. Good.
And he loves it, and he started the law firm of Smith, Smith, and Smith with Torrey.
You should just call it Smith Squared or something.
Yes.
Smith Cubes.
Yeah. Smith.
Yeah, whatever.
One of the kind of things that I think John Harbaugh always says, that we let people be themselves, and he's being himself. And
Well, that's good.
So between those guys, I have my little notes here, and
that's fine.
it's with Ray Rice going to be out for the first 2 games, and then we have Bernard Pierce who's going to have to step up for him. I was really impressed with Justin Forsett, who already worked with Kubiak in Houston, and he seemed to be on fire last night, catching everything and knowing the routes, and looked like he knew what was going on, and he could be a contender, because we have, you know, another draft pick, which is Lorenzo Talafiero. So I think there's going to be some really good competition, and maybe, hopefully, a deep bench if we can stay away from injuries.
Yeah. Hey, Gwen, you had an opportunity to do something that's very special. Tell us about how that came about, and big ups to the Ravens for allowing you to have that access.
Yes. So I got a hold of the press manager, and he's allowing me to come to that practice last night and have full press coverage, and then I'll probably have another one at the end of the camp. So I got to go into the media room, which was all the guys that I see on TV reporting the sports, all the guys that I know that are writing for the paper. I walked in and I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Like, this is crazy. I'm just, here I am in this glass box with these guys that I read all their stuff and I see them on TV. And I, of course, found the two nicest, quietest guys in the corner that didn't seem to be interested in all that flashy stuff, and I talked to them and got some advice from them. I had to be professional, but when I went into the hallway and I passed by Ozzie Newsome, I almost lost it. Lost it. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I just kind of smiled and said hi to him, and he said hi. And I came back in and I had to tell those two guys. I was like, I'm supposed to be professional here, but I'm totally having a fangirl moment. And the one guy said, don't worry, because I still feel the same way when I see him also.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's great that you got that reception from the guys.
Yes, because I was the only woman in there that I could see. And then an hour left into the practice, we got to go down onto the field. And they were doing the inter-team play. And that was crazy because I'm just being there. Like, I couldn't see anything because I'm 5'2", and I was standing behind the D line. That's where we were standing. Standing right there in front of me.
No big guys along that line.
No.
Not at all.
There's will be kick returners in front of her. No big deal.
Steve Bisciotti is right there, and everybody just seems so calm and cool, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I have a straight face, but this is really cool. Like, there's kids screaming.
Yeah.
And
that's very cool.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Once again, major shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for allowing you to have that access and to have another one. I gotta find out, how is my boy C.J. Mosley looking?
He was looking good. And he had a one-on-one for a good while with Ray Lewis because he's taken over that position.
Yeah.
And he's definitely mentoring him.
Oh, good.
That's so awesome.
No bad stuff, Ray. Stay away from the bad stuff.
Which one are we talking about?
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
he has a lot going on in Baltimore, so.
He's a guy with a lot of talent, and I was super jealous that you guys got him and my Titans did not. So,
Well, you have our. I was very upset with him.
What's that?
You have our Bernard Pollard.
Oh, yes. Well,
Yes.
you know what? I might take that trade.
That's a lot of personality in one person.
We love Bernard Pollard down here as well. He very quickly became a fan favorite and got the Sharona seal of approval.
Oh, nice. I'm happy about that.
So, all right, Sonja, I'm sorry. I just had to ask about C.J. Mosley. You take us away. Did I freeze up?
You're there. I see.
Oh, we might have lost Sonja. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and lead then. Claire, I want to come back to you. The quarterback situation, and I'm going to ask, I want to talk to Gwen about her quarterback situation as well. The quarterback situation in Houston is, well, interesting. You have former Titan. He was with the Titans for a year, the backup quarterback who became the starter because Jake Locker got hurt again. Ryan Fitzpatrick. How does he look in camp? What are the thoughts on how he's competing with Case Keenum and Ricky Tom Savage?
Yeah, he's looked good, Ryan Fitzpatrick has. He's built some chemistry with Andre Johnson, which you definitely want with your new quarterback. At the same time, I think a lot of Ryan Fitzpatrick's problems come into play whenever, you accept his limitations and what he is. He's not a mobile quarterback. He's not, going to throw the ball, 60 yards downfield. But he tends to be mistake prone at big moments in games. And so you're going to have to wait for that to happen. Case Keenum looks like Case Keenum. Lots of interceptions. I don't feel it. And then Tom Savage has a great arm. He can throw He can throw a beautiful pass. He can land it, but he doesn't have any mobility, and his accuracy. He doesn't know NFL. He doesn't know
He
this
still needs
team's
work.
situation. Yeah. So Brian Fitzpatrick is your best bet for the Texans, but he probably, I think he will leave something to be desired come regular season.
Yeah, that's definitely the question there. What about Louis Nix? How's he looking?
He's actually been on PP. He hasn't been practicing really yet. So he's been hanging out with Brian Cushing over in the corner of the field, and I guess looking at Brian Cushing's new big, beautiful muscles. I don't know where
I was
going
to ask you about that.
They
are we
are
at all
huge.
concerned about juicing?
Yes. Honestly, yes. And I don't like to get on those conversations on social media because people watch, and maybe people watch this, and I shouldn't be saying such horrible things. But a month ago, a friend of mine took a picture with Brian Cushing, and Brian Cushing is so much bigger now than he was 1 month ago from yesterday. It kind of makes you wonder what's going on. And you hope it's natural. You hope he just went into the gym and just pumped iron until his muscles exploded into more muscle. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was, you can't help but think that, and I'm certainly, I would like to see Brian Cushing have, kind of a comeback season. He's headed toward that injury-prone label, though, isn't he?
He is. He is. The past 2 years, he's missed the whole season with knee injuries. So, he's hard to count on, and that's unfortunate because he is the leader of the defense, and is as great as J.J. Watt is. Brian Cushing is the glue that holds that defense together. So we need him on the field.
Yeah, he definitely, and he plays an important position in that defense. So yeah. Gwen, what are the expectations for Joe Flacco this year? How did he look in training camp? And was it right or wrong? He got blamed a lot for the offensive struggles last year. Do you think that that was fair?
It's hard with Joe because I think Joe has so much talent, and he gets a lot of flack for not being a vocal quarterback and being so quiet and just being that laid-back guy. He's not Mr. Hollywood, which is not what we would have here. Last year, I think we did have some holes in the O-line that kind of made it hard for him. I think we didn't have – it was just a rebuilding year. We lost so much from after the Super Bowl. And then everybody was trying to kind of figure their place out. This year I have expectations that are much bigger. So we hear that Gary Kubiak and him are working so much closer, and now he is not going to be up in the boxes. He's actually going to be down on the field with Joe, being able to talk to Joe and being very involved. So I really hope that – I think he's going to be okay. I think it's just – he just gets that flack for not being – he doesn't show the emotion. But I don't know which works. You got the quarterback that may scream and yell at his players, or you're going to have the one that's going to be, okay, well, let's fix this, and I'm not going to. So we kind of have him, and then Tyrod Taylor, nice guy, really, really nice guy, but he really can't compare. He kind of seems to get lost out there when he does have to come in. We saw it last year when Joe kind of got hurt at the end of the season with his knee. I hope that he could get it together, but I just don't know where he's – I don't think he's going to go anywhere because there's another quarterback, Keith Wenning, which first time I saw him last night. Not really impressive, didn't do anything unimpressive. He was just kind of there. So I don't think Tyrod's going anywhere, and I don't know if we're actually going to carry 3 quarterbacks. So I think Joe's going to do better.
Yeah, that's a dilemma for teams, whether to carry 2 or 3 quarterbacks. 4 is definitely too many. For the Titans, they're probably going to carry 3 quarterbacks because when you consider Jake Locker's injury history, it's hard to be confident there. I generally prefer 2. and that you have a good young quarterback on your practice squad. But it's definitely a dilemma, especially when you're not entirely sure about your backup situation. So I can understand why the Ravens would have a difficult decision there. It is a tough decision.
Yeah.
Because that third quarterback, I've got a dog that really likes to be a diva and wants to join the show.
Oh, right.
So I should have put her up, but maybe she'll settle down and be all like, pick me up, I want to talk. So what are the expectations for Joe Flacco this year? If they don't make the playoffs, is he going to be considered to be stealing from the team with that nice, shiny new contract?
I don't think so. The players say nothing but good things about Joe. I don't think he's really that player that everybody would be like, yeah, get him out of here. Some of the fans are,
Yeah.
But I really think he's smart and he's strong, and if he has the weapons to throw to, he's going to use it. And he especially has a good relationship with Dennis Pitta, one of our tight end.
Yeah.
Very close. And so he has special relationships with, those guys, and I think he's going to be okay, and I think everybody just needs to chill out. and we got the line guys that are going to help.
Yeah, hopefully they will. I mean, I think that fans get spoiled, and it's easy to say, oh, Joe Flacco isn't the. I can remember his rookie year. I was at a Baltimore Ravens game in Baltimore, and I was sitting beside a guy who did nothing but complain about Joe Flacco the entire time.
Right.
And I was forced. I was like, I had to start sticking up for him because it was so unfair. I was like, give the kid a chance. I don't have a problem with him getting that contract. I think that he earned it, and what he's done in his short career is it's pretty phenomenal.
Right.
Fans forget how hard it is to make the playoffs and make it to the Super Bowl, and
we did it.
Yeah, you did it. How many times did he take the team to the playoffs since he became the starter his rookie season? I mean, I think the pedigree sort of speaks for itself. So, have you decided when you're going to go back and use that second media access?
I think he told me that he would allow me. He chose it. It wasn't all. I was like, whatever you want.
Okay.
So it's going to be the very last day of training camp.
Okay.
When
all right.
Decide to cut people and things like that. So
that's kind of a good day to have it.
Yeah. So everybody should be there, and it's going to be do or die. So it should be an interesting day.
Oh, by the way, Sonja sent me a text. There's a storm going through her city, and where she is at right now. She's going to try to get back in the Hangout, but that's interfering with her internet access and her ability to get back in. So she's going to try to join us if if she can, but we're going to go ahead and carry on. Sorry, I got something stuck in the back of my throat. Gwen, before I turn back to Claire, I want to ask you another question. What are the things that are of interest to you in training camp coverage this year? What are the big battles, and what are the things that you're most curious about?
I was keeping an eye on the for the cornerback position because we have Shockey Brown. You okay?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We can't do the Heimlich from here. Would it be okay?
I'm back. I'm okay.
Okay.
You're not dramatic at all.
No,
You need water. Need water?
Oh, yes, I was choking.
I know. You need water.
I've got some. I'm drinking
good.
Okay.
Good. I worry.
There's going to be a competition there is between Shockey Brown and Asa Jackson for a cornerback position. Asa was suspended, I think, for the first 6 games last year because of ADD, which was apparently his ADD medication that he didn't tell somebody that he took. But I remember last year and watching him at camp saying, "Ooh, look at him play. Look at him. He's making sure that we do not forget about him during those 6 games." So, and then I think Shockey just kind of came around, and then Jimmy Smith kind of came into his own. So he didn't really get playing time when he did come back. But last night I noticed another guy, a rookie, that I did not even know we had. I mean, Deji Olatoye. I have no idea. He is from North Carolina A&T.
Good job with the name.
Yeah. He was impressive last night. He went up on one-on-ones against some of the wide receivers and put them right on their butts, and he was breaking up a lot of passes. So Jockey I think, is dealing with hamstring injury. Asa's just coming back and trying to fight for a position, and I'm thinking this guy might be, so he could be their competition. I was really interested in Justin Forsett, which he came from Houston, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He came through Houston.
Yeah.
He went to Seattle from Jacksonville. Yeah, he's been all over.
So between having Tori and Steve, no, I'm sorry, that's wide receivers. Between Grace and Bernard Keir, and then we have, our draft pick Lorenzo Talafiero. I think, Justin Forsett looked great last night, and he's had his reputation with Gary Kubiak, so that always.
Do you think he's the favorite to assume that third running back spot right now?
I don't know if anybody's paid attention as much as I kind of started. He was around before, and I've kind of hooked onto him. I don't know why, but people seem to be liking Lorenzo Talafiero too. So,
okay.
But I guess we're all gonna make sure see how Ray comes back from the 2-game suspension and having his worst year last year and having an injury last year, and then just everything else that's been going on with him.
Do you want to weigh in at all on the Ray Rice suspension? We kind of stayed away from that. Do you have, what are your thoughts on that?
I wonder what people are more angry about, and I know Claire is on Twitter and is very vocal about it, and I'm fine with that. You can have whatever opinion you want. Are people more mad about the NFL ruling, or are they more mad about Ray and what they think he got away with, kind of thing? Like he got charged with it. He's doing whatever he has to do to deal with it. He's getting suspended. His wife's standing behind him. She was there last night. She's with him and right behind him, and I don't know. I'm just wondering. Maybe Claire can.
Yeah.
Say.
Well. And it's hard to get into a topic this deep on, just a webcast, and I don't want to make it some big dramatic thing. But having worked in social service, you do know there is such a thing as like battered wife syndrome, where you support the person who supports you, and I don't know what their home life is like. I don't know what she's going through in their personal relationship. But oftentimes an abusee supports an abuser, and so that makes me a little suspect of why she supports him to the degree she does. At the same time, maybe she's guilty. Maybe something happened in those whatever seconds we didn't see on the video that was from the elevator, that she somehow did something to him. We don't know. Apparently, the NFL knows. And they found it worthy of giving him a lesser suspension than they did some people for doing
less
drugs that are legal in some states. Or, less. Let's just say less.
And I agree. I'm shocked that he didn't get more. I'm shocked that he did not get more.
Yeah.
As a Ravens fan and being close to it, you're like, okay, he only got 2.
Yeah, no, I can totally understand that. Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
absolutely.
I would be the first one to admit, I'm like I said in my last article that I had, way harder on other teams when it's not yours. Like
Yeah,
I said,
sure.
Tom Brady does it. I'm all over it. All over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been around Ray and his wife, and I've seen they've been together for a long time, and it had to take a lot for her to be there last night because I know she was with Tori's wife, and they were meeting a lot of fans, and they were doing a lot of things, and I think it takes a lot for either one of them to come out after being through all this, and then here they are,
Right. At that moment.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's very difficult to have your personal life spread out all over the news like that. I really can.
And hide, but she chooses to
Yeah.
come here and do it, and I mean, who am I to say he's doing it or he's not or whatever. I personally believe that the NFL must have seen what happened in the inside of that elevator, because I think I think alcohol fueled so much of it, which it usually does. So.
There are things we don't know, we may never know, or we may find out. But yeah, it's just a lot surprising. I think a lot of the big issue, in addition to what happened, was media response and what people said who are in positions of influence. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I'm finding, the most important social media, Facebook, what I hear from people on that and Twitter, it seems like the women are being more like, we don't know what happened on that elevator. Maybe something happened between them to make it happen. And then the men are extremely pissed. So I didn't expect it to be split like that. I didn't expect the men to be so angry and just go off. And then the women are kind of like, well, why are you so mad? You don't know what happened, and he got his punishment. So we could go on with this forever. But
I know.
Yeah, I don't want to turn the show into that. I was just curious what your thoughts were on it. He got a big ovation from the fans, so obviously they are behind him. I am personally, this is all I'll say about it, I'm personally of the opinion that it does not matter what happened in that elevator, that the response that Ray Rice gave, obviously, she was knocked out, and he had to drag her out of the elevator, and we all saw what happened. So, but he'll have his 2-game suspension, and the commissioner will have other things to deal with. I would like to see a little bit more consistency with how he handles these things, but I guess we'll see, and we're still waiting to see what he does with Jim Irsay. So, I guess we'll see about that. All right. So, we've talked a little bit about training camp. I'll just tell you guys a real quick update from the Titans training camp. Like Claire, new system, new coaches, different, just a different feel to it. You didn't know what to expect. You still really don't know what to expect because it's still very early on in the process. A couple of things that I noticed, and I was talking about this yesterday, was that the Titans are not playing music. In the past, they have played music at practices, and they had actually gotten into the modern world a little bit, and they were playing rap and R&B and stuff. No music whatsoever is being played at practices this year, and so that was, and I have not seen anybody with any sort of official explanation about that. But just something that I noticed that was a little bit different. But it's been a nice tempo, a nice atmosphere at training camp. I sort of miss the music a little bit, but then again, I don't. It makes it easier to hear what the guys are saying and the interaction and all of that. Tempers got a little bit heated. You're going to see that. That's something that always does in training camp. Have you guys had? Have there been any fisticuffs or tussles between players yet, Gwen?
Yes, in the beginning there was a tussle between Steve Smith and
Of course.
Lardarius. But
Oh, okay.
the very next morning, Steve Smith brought, it was a Dunkin' Donuts bag. I don't know if it was a muffin or a donut. And it just, he wrote on it,
I remember that, yeah.
he's offering from number 89.
Oh,
So,
that's sweet.
you gotta love him for that.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great response.
And Webby is not one of those guys that is cocky and arrogant. He's just a goofy, good guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was a noticeable absence last night. He has a back injury, so we're not really sure where that's coming from. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, that is a little concerning.
Yeah, like I was like, wait a minute, he's not here. I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
There's something happened last night with John Urschel and another linebacker. I couldn't tell who it was, but I was very in tune with John Urschel because I want to meet him and talk to him.
Oh, yeah?
He is like the math genius.
Oh.
He was the one that was basically teaching college classes while he was playing football and going to school at the same time.
Okay.
And so just seeing that, I was like, well, this is interesting. I want to talk to him, and then you see like a whole different side that you didn't think he has, because he spends a lot of time right now playing chess against a lot of Ravens fans online.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so he has like 50 games going at once, and he's won most of them, and that's kind of how he's bonding with Ravens fans right now. But I saw him get into it with somebody, so I'd like to see more of that.
Well, that's very cool. What about you, Claire?
There really hasn't been anything. The only thing that I noticed while I was at camp was at one point Brandon Harris went really hard at Andre Johnson. And Andre Johnson hasn't been there for, conditioning or anything, the off-season stuff. And Coach O'Brien did not dig that very much. And took him to the side and had words with him, and you're not going to go after Andre Johnson. And
well, Cortland Finnegan will tell you that.
Well, Cortland Finnegan probably does have a very strong opinion about going after Andre Johnson, yeah. Yeah, so that was really the only thing that I've heard about that's been negative at all. Yeah. All right. They've all been saying Kumbaya together every night and having s'mores and eating BF.
I'm sure telling campfire stories and, yeah.
Just getting to know each other.
Yeah. I'm sure that's true. There a little bit of some interaction between some of the guys. One of the funnier moments, Nate Washington, who is always so fun to watch at training camp, got into or started mouthing off at, and I say that with love because I really like Nate Washington, but he was mouthing off at Micah Pellerin. I misspelled his name on Twitter, but it's Pellerin. Sorry, Micah. And I'm telling him, I won't repeat verbatim because it has dirty words, and we try to stay away from the dirty words on here. But basically telling him whatever it was he had done, not to be doing that anymore, like repeatedly over and over and over and over again. And it went on for a little bit, and then you heard Pollard from the sidelines. Which is going to shock nobody. Pollard yelled from the sidelines, basically, "You better watch it! You better watch it! You just got beat is all. You just got beat is all. It happens. You just got beat. You better watch it." And I was dying. It was the funniest thing because
Does he still tell other players to settle?
Yes, he still uses the settle thing. He still uses the settle thing. He's very vocal at training camp and very fun to watch. So he brings an excitement and an energy and just an attitude that the Titans really did need. So Claire, I'm going to start with you on this last question, and then we'll get to the AFC versus NFC. And I guess I'll take over for Sonja. Trying to defend. I can defend the NFC, I suppose. But here's my question: what young guys, in your opinion, need to have good training camp? A good training camp, either to get a spot on the active roster, or B, to possibly nose his way into rotation or the starting lineup.
Okay. I will say that the tight end position right now in Houston is being contested like crazy. I mean, there are 5 tight ends who are currently at training camp right now, and you can see all of them being carried into this season. You can see Garrett Graham and Ryan Griffin, who were there last year. Zach Potter, who is a 6'7", 289-pound beast.
Huge.
Bigger than C.J. Fedorowicz, who we drafted this season, and a Chris Coyle, who was an undrafted free agent, who we cut and came back. The tight end position is just huge, and they're fighting. And you look at them on the sideline; they all look like a set of quintuplets. Is that 5 twins? That's what they look like on the sidelines. It's quintuplets, and they're all like the same build, the same height, the same skill set. I will say Ryan Griffith is really standing out for the twos. But we'll have to see. I think it's going to be widely contested, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that one.
Are the Texans going to use their tight end like they did? I mean, the tight end was such a key position for the Houston Texans under Gary Kubiak and the former coaching staff. Are they going to use the tight end like they did then?
Every indication from what we've seen in training camp and what going into this offseason is that we're setting this up to be very much like New England's offense.
Okay, well then yes. So the answer is yes.
We want our big tight ends, and we don't care. Yeah, we want you to be able to block, we want you to be able to hit, we want you to be able to catch, and you're going to be the guy on offense behind the quarterback pretty much. So yeah, that's going to be a very important position. And then the wide receiver position, I like offense. You know, Daniel and I will fight about this on our Wednesday night podcast. I love offense, and that's what I focus on. Just naturally, my eye says, where's the football going and who's going to catch it? And I hope he's the guy who's going to score the points for my team. That's going to be.
How does DeAndre Hopkins look?
Oh, fantastic. He looks good, but I will say, you know, they come out of the drills in their 1, 2, 3 positions, and it's Andre, and then DeAndre, and then DeVere Posey. DeVere Posey, that guy, he's been injured, but he puts in the hours. He's always the last guy to leave. I mean, after the quarterbacks, after the everything, he's working with the jug machine. He is an amazingly nice, consistent, talented guy who hasn't gotten a chance to play. Yeah. And then we have tons of other wide receivers behind them that just keep making amazing catches when they shouldn't catch the ball. You're like, why did Savage throw that? Why did Fitzpatrick throw that? Why did Keenum throw that? And these guys will come down with the ball. I mean, there's a couple of Aggies on there who caught from Johnny Manziel, so maybe they're just used to crazy being where they need to be, and the ball's going to come to them coming into the league. There's you know, a lot of wide receivers fighting for a spot on the roster, and I think that's going to be a really widely contested position.
You know, there's something to be said for reliable. You know, you've got these guys that flash, and you know, they're kind of boom or bust kind of guys. You know, reliability is huge. It's pretty important, especially for a quarterback who, you know, a young quarterback or a quarterback like Ryan Fitzpatrick who knows. I mean, he's not dumb. He went to Harvard. Did you hear that?
Oh, I thought I heard he has a really high IQ and he's smart, right?
Right.
That happened? Okay.
I mean, he knows that you know, the knock on him are the turnovers and the interceptions and that, and so you know, you're going to look for that reliable guy who's going to make the plays that you need him to make. So yeah. Gwen, what about for the Ravens?
I think we're really stacked at wide receiver. Like I said, Torrey Smith made the play of the day yesterday with the one-handed catch.
Oh, cool.
That was pretty. It was an acrobatic catch, and everybody was like, "Oh my!" So I think
I really like Torrey Smith, by the way. Big fan of that guy.
He's the best. And side note, I had messaged his wife because I do know them, and I said, you know, tell Torrey I'm going to leave him alone tomorrow. I'm not going to go after him because I already know him, and I'm not going to, like, try to talk to him because there's going to be too many other things going on. And she was like, oh, Gwen, he's not going to care. And I was like, I'm not. But by the end of practice, and I just needed a friendly face, and I finally saw Tori, I ran over and hugged him so hard. I don't even know if he knew Gwen hit him. But I texted her today, and I was like, Chanel, I said I did exactly what I didn't want to do with Tori because it was just
They do seem like a great couple. I mean, they really do. They are fun to watch and to see, you know, how the respect they have for each other and how they interact. I think that's pretty great.
Yeah. It's nice to see when you don't see a lot of them being a team with their own wives. Like,
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, that's the great thing about, you know, getting to know these guys and their wives, is that you really see the humanness and the humanity behind. You know, we think of these guys as players, but they're people, and they've got a lot of things outside of football.
Right.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of, with Michael Orr leaving. There's a couple of
By the way, he's been very impressive in camp to me.
Good. Have you spoke to him yet?
I have not had a chance to speak to him. I've just been watching him on the field.
Okay. He's quick. He is. He's quick. So there's two guys, I think James Hurst and Rick Wagner, that people are talking about. Maybe that's going to be kind of a fight because the other side is sort of taken care of. The middle is taken care of. Well, that may be. I don't know if it's going to be Gino Gradkowski or one of the newer guys. Because he, was a little bit. You never knew what was going to happen with him. I think the first pass of the first game, it was like went right past Joe Flacco. So you never know with the center position with him. So
Right.
I think wide receiver is probably our strongest right now, and running back, and then I think the O-line is going to be the biggest question mark for everyone.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. By the way, before I forget, I really want to apologize to both of you for getting choked. I had a tickle in the back of my throat that I absolutely could not. And to our viewers, I'm so sorry. I know that was very distracting, and but I just couldn't help it. I had a tickle in the back of my throat. So please forgive me, and I apologize to both of you guys for all of that. Hey, I think Sonja is back with us.
Woo! I'm back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do it.
Stupid internet connections and storms and things.
We persevere through it all. So all right, AFC versus NFC, and let me lead us into that by just Patriots, Tom Brady, not a young man by any means. Miami Dolphins, Ryan Tannehill, young quarterback. New York Jets, Geno Smith, young quarterback. Buffalo Bills, E.J. Manuel, young quarterback. Cincinnati Bengals, Andy Dalton, still in that young quarterback stage to me. Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, 32, not young.
No.
Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco is in the middle. He is one of those guys. He's gotten his first after his rookie contract. So, he's going to be around for a while. Cleveland Browns, young quarterback. Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck, young quarterback. Houston Texans, they're going to be young sooner rather than later. Ryan Fitzpatrick is just a fill-in. Tennessee Titans, right now it's Jake Locker, young guy, still a young guy. If he does not work out, it's going to be another young guy. Is it Zach Mettenberger? Is it someone else? Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to go young sooner rather than later. That team's going to be Blake Bortles, maybe by the middle of this coming season. Kansas City Chiefs, Alex Smith, he's in the middle. Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning's old, let's face it. San Diego Chargers, Phillip Rivers, another 32-year-old quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger. Oakland Raiders, they're going to be young sooner rather than later. So we've got an AFC that either these young quarterbacks are going to step up outside of Andrew Luck, who already has, and be that guy, or we're going to have a lot of bad teams in the AFC, don't you think? I'm going to let you guys take that away. Clara, you want to talk about this?
Well, I'm thinking, it's not only the quarterback. There are a lot of other players on each of these teams that will make a difference. And, I think that Andrew Luck probably has the most upside as a young QB, but I don't see the rest of his team's gotten any improvement. I see they've taken a step back in the running game this offseason, especially in preseason, and their defense hasn't really made any strides. So that concerns me for AFC South. And then you look at Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and their coaches and their GMs and their owners have made sure that they have really strong teams around them. They have improved their defenses, improved their secondaries, especially in the case of New England. And I feel like both of those teams are built to give them their last hurrah, to give each of those quarterbacks their last hurrah. I would be surprised if any team other than the Broncos or the Patriots go to the Super Bowl for the AFC. And I do think that the Chargers have a chance, but I don't see them beating out the Broncos in that division. So that's just what I see. I think that both those two individuals, given the team makeup around them, they have the will to take the talent surrounding them beyond what they would normally be capable of. But Peyton didn't show us much last year, so maybe that lies in the hands of Tom Brady. So that's going to be my pick.
Let me ask you this before I turn to Gwen and let Sonja come in. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that the AFC is weaker than the NFC right now?
Yeah, I do. But at the same time, I think that when you come down to that final game, there are teams that can compete with the best team in the NFC. But I think there are more teams in the NFC that are exceptional or really good than there are teams in the AFC, if that makes sense.
Now, then my next question is the AFC going to remain weaker than the NFC for the next 3 to 5 years?
It's hard to argue that it won't unless like some crazy free agency happens and players leave the NFC for the AFC. Those teams have better players in leadership positions, it seems like.
All right, Gwen, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree with the Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. I'm a Peyton fan. I just like his style. He is getting older. I don't know if he's coming back this year to try to prove a point because he got spanked in Super Bowl. I think this should be his last hurrah. Tom Brady, as much as I can't stand him, I really he's amazing. He makes it happen, and he has a team around him that does make it happen. I'm really, really, really curious to see if Johnny Manziel is going to break out and do something. Because I didn't like him because I'm seeing him all over TMZ with all these rappers.
Right.
And then
he's about that life.
He's about that life. He's young. He's only 21. That's what he keeps saying. I got the NFL Network the other day, which I haven't had. And so then I spent the entire day watching NFL Network.
Oh, now you're addicted, right? That happens.
I did. And the first thing that came on was Johnny Manziel, and it was his press conference. And either he's really good or they've just been putting him in a bad spot in the press.
He's really good.
Yeah,
I'm an Aggie. I went to school where he went, and so I followed him very closely. He's really good. And I admire him. He's really good.
Yeah, so I liked him after that press conference. And, as much as Cleveland hates us and they're peeing on our own excellent grades and all that kind of stuff, I'm excited to see if he can get out of that limelight that has been shown this summer of him partying with every celebrity. And Andrew Luck, I don't know. Colt's got my Art Jones, which I'm not very happy about. So miss my Art Jones. That's one of the nicest guys. So I think there's a lot of interesting stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Sonja, nobody wants to take you on. Nobody
Wants to talk about the NFC right now.
I think we're all in agreement that the AFC is weaker than the NFC, and is probably going to be for the next couple of years. It's hard to see that changing unless, like I said, and I agree with Claire's point. It's not all the quarterback,
right?
But let's face it, the bad teams in the NFL are the ones that don't have very good quarterbacks. A good quarterback can make up for a lot of. And you saw it last year with Andrew Luck. That Colts team wasn't particularly good. A, he took advantage of a weak AFC South, and B, how many fourth quarter comebacks did he engineer basically on his own? And I think that the NFC is the cream of the crop right now, and will be unless we see some young quarterbacks step up. And for Andy Dalton, he's got to get that playoff bugaboo off his back, and so we'll see with him. Sonja, just real quick, what's going on with your Detroit Lions? Sue is going to become a free agent, it looks like.
Yeah, Sue most likely will be a free agent at the end of the season. They contract negotiation talks have completely failed, so they're just tabling it till the end of the season, which at this point I think is just the best in everybody's, well, I'd love to have him with us and stay with us, and hopefully he does, but right now I think it's just the best. Let's forget about the contract talk. Let's just head out and play. We've got a division to try and win, and it's a tough division. I think this year the NFC North is going to be pretty tough. I know a lot of people kind of like what the Lions have done, but it's still going to be very tough. We've got to go up against a now healthy Green Bay team who essentially gets all their guys back. We're going up against the Bears who drafted well defensively. It's going to be a challenge. So, I think let's just get back and play. We've got a new coaching staff. Let's just get back and play and just forget about what's going on with Sue. We've got a division to try and win, and hopefully we can.
What's the word on the first-round pick, tight end, Eric Ebron?
A lot of guys have liked him, but then there was also something that I saw where he dropped a couple passes. Well, okay, it's the first couple of days in his camp. He's a rookie, and, everything is probably going to be a little bit new to him. I'm not concerned, but overall, everything has been very, very positive. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the field and just, watching that new offense kind of go and gel.
Yeah, obviously a guy that all eyes are going to be on him. So, all right. Well, the hour always goes by really fast. Great stuff from you guys. Sonja, I'm going to kick it over to you to start our outros, and then I will take us out.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm so sorry, you guys. There have been storms blowing through here this afternoon. It looked really evil when I was coming home, and I was like, I don't think this is going to bode well for me in the show. So I apologize for that, you guys. But Claire and Gwen, thank you so much for joining us. As always, it's been fun. Claire, why don't you tell us where we can find you?
Well, I'm always on Wednesday nights on your sister show, Wednesday Night with NFL Female, on Blog Talk Radio. You can find me on Twitter at TheClaireBear23. And I will always post links on the day of the show. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Woohoo! And, Gwen, tell us where we can find you.
You can find me on Twitter, Gwen2475. Not very creative. The same on Google+. I'm actually going to be on Claire's show tomorrow night, so we'll be talking to each other again.
The podcast is a ton of fun. You will enjoy that. I love coming on to talk to Dana, Claire, and Lisa, who are three incredible women with so much football knowledge at their disposal, and it's always a fun time to do that. So I am jealous, I am envious of you getting an opportunity to do that. Although I have to say, I was just on there not too long ago, so I'll quit whining.
Oh, goodness.
It is. It's a lot of fun. Sonja?
Okay. So yes, I'm Sonja. I am the official fan reporter for the Detroit Lions, and you can find me on Twitter at mom2 3RN. You can also find me, of course, writing for my ladies at NFLfemale.com, and then also you can find me at A Good Sports Hang, and we got to get the guys on. We got to have a guys' night too. We have to have a guys' night.
We need a guys' night. And we haven't had the guys on. We definitely need to do that. Me, the choking girl, I'm Sharona. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. Be sure to check out NFL Female, www.nflfemale.com. Check out all the great articles that are being written by all the women who cover their teams there. Check out Wednesday Night with NFL Female, our fantastic sister podcast on Wednesday nights with my girl Claire and Dana, who is the official reporter for the Seattle Seahawks, and Lisa, who is the official reporter for the Miami Dolphins. I am Sharona. I am the official reporter for the Tennessee Titans. And we want to give, as always, a big shout out to Liz, our muse and our guru, who without her, none of this would be possible. We love you very much. We'll be back next Tuesday night with another great show. Sonja, give us a quick preview of that.
So the past couple weeks we've been all AFC everything. Next week for sure we are going to be all NFC. We welcome in Stacia, our fan reporter for the Bears, and Jennifer, fan reporter from the Niners. So this is going to be so much fun. All NFC everything.
I'm excited to be talking to them. Have a very great Tuesday night. Thanks again to Claire and Gwen for joining us tonight, and we will see you. We will see you next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way, the Zone Blitz.